to explore. Roll the future, hear the dice roll. Gaining realms of muscles drawn. Together in this place where we belong. Doting spells, casting dreams until the dawn. Leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright. Venturing onward in the endless night. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in the storm of imagination mold. With every stroke, the fantasy unfold. Beats of our soul. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story's told in the storm of imagination mold. With every stroke, the fate to fight for. Face of our souls. Our soul.
Yo, 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 how we doing, YouTube? It's Friday, it's 7 PM here in the UK at least, and it's time for Minis and Muscles. The only place you need to be on a Friday where the brawn meets... That's not a paintbrush, that's a paint scoop. Let's get a brush. In fact, I've just noticed something. I need to put some lights on. I'm looking rather dark here. So let's just turn some lights on because I forgot to put the extra lights on. So let's just do that. Because otherwise we won't be able to see Jackal. There we go. That's better. There we are. Now it's a bit brighter. Now we can say hello. Oh, Joel's in the house. How you doing, brother? Oh, forgot to put the music on. There we are. The music you know and love. Courtesy of Pocket Bard. If you haven't got Pocket Bard, by the way, not that I'm paid for by them, but that's an absolutely brilliant app. If you play Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role-playing games, absolutely brilliant app to use for your music. So you can set all the scenes and you can sort of change things from just exploring into combat, into victory music when you win a mission or whatever, or win a fight. It's very, very good. Anyway, apart from that, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you with me. So hello, 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 and hello. How has your week been? Well, I'm glad you asked me that question too, and I'll tell you how my week's been. My week's been not bad. Not bad. It's been okay. Well, I was just trying to think of the geeky stuff I've done since I've seen you all last. No Warhammer. No Warhammer since I've seen you last. The trouble is, it's coming up to Christmas, right? So all of the commitments that you can normally squeeze in around your geeky life, Christmas gets in the bloody way, right? Joel is saying in chat, trying to get painting done but have not started. I was like that earlier today. I was like, oh no, should I do some painting? But then I never did. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, Christmas is getting in the way, right, of all our geeky things. So the past week hasn't been super geeky. I have done some stuff. So I did play Dungeons and Dragons. I played Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesday with my group, and we've now sort of hit pause till the new year. Ugh, sucks. So that's gone on. What else? I haven't played much video games this week. I've not felt too good, so haven't played much video games. Haven't really done much at all, actually, geeky. That's it. All I've done is play Dungeons and Dragons. However, that was a good one. My druid that I play, my shifter race druid, and the crew that he is with at the moment, we made it onto an island, and we've started to search for the blight seeds that are on this island, so we can stop the curses. So it's very good. So yeah, that's all the geeky stuff I've done in terms of playing. However, in terms of purchasing, I this week managed to get hold of some gosh darn it Pokemon cards. Oh yeah, I've got them here. So we today will be opening some packs live and to see if we pull anything decent. This is the new Phantasmal Flames from Mega Evolutions set. So we will see how we do here. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we're lucky. So I did get those. I'm just trying to think of anything else. No. I was actually buying things for other people because it's Christmas, right? I bought a D&D kit for like an essentials kit for my mates' kids, because I ran a session for them a couple of weeks back and they loved it, so I got that for them for Christmas. So that's about as much as my geekery goes this week. Pretty darn boring, right? However, I'll just go back to my I need to go back to my what's it called? Schedule. That's it, schedule, which is on this side now. It used to be on that side, but it's now on this side. So if I'm looking at this side, you know I'm looking at my schedule. As usual, if you're a first-time watcher of Minis and Muscles, we have 3 real parts to the show. We have part 1, which is our main general chat topic. So this is a chat topic that we run throughout the entirety of the show whilst we paint miniatures. So I'll be painting a miniature, you guys can be painting miniatures at home, and we'll just have a general geek off chat. It does quite often stray into various different places and we talk about various different things. However, we will this week be chatting about the Warhammer factions, good versus bad. So read into that what you will. The second part of the show is all about our muscle moment. And for this week on our muscle moment, so we talk a little bit about fitness. It wouldn't be minis and muscles if we didn't talk about fitness. So we're going to talk about very quickly about 5 little tips about getting faster in your running. Then we will, either before that or after that, depends on how things go, we will open the Pokemon cards. We will do that live on the show. So we'll do a top-down view and you'll see me putting the Pokemon cards out and see if we pull the Charizards. There's a Mega Charizard that's in this new set. Gosh darn it, if I got that, woof, that would be pretty sweet. So that we'll cover that as like a little special. And then we'll go into the third part of our show, which is hobby horrors. So we talk about things that go wrong. Last week, I spilt my paint all over the desk. So we're going to be talking about paint spills in the hobby horror. Apart from that, that generally is our show this week. How about you guys? What's been happening? Optimus is in the house. He's played any more Space Marine 2. I heard there's a new Medieval Total War coming out. Ooh. So no, I haven't played any more Space Marine 2. I was just saying Optimus in my own personal geeky weeky rap that I haven't done much geekery at all. So no, I've not done much this week, unfortunately. Have you seen? You're talking about Total War. Have you seen the new Warhammer Total War 4 that's just been announced? Looks pretty amazing. Graphics and okay, so it was a cinematic scene that they played, but it looked pretty cool. Involved loads of different factions. 2 playable Space Marine factions, Blood Angels and oh gosh, was it Imperial Fist? Blood Angel, I think it's Imperial Fist. Blood Angels, Imperial, but 2 factions with 2 chapters within the Space Marine faction that you can now play. Loads of different enemies were shown in the cinematic trailer, so that was cool, from orcs to Necrons and others. And also they revealed a new Primarch as well, so you'll be able to play as a Primarch in Total War 4. So that's just been announced, but I've not seen a medieval Total War, no. Do I remember Garbage Pail Kids from school? Often wondered about collecting them again. Garbage Pail. That name rings a bell. Was it like a monster? A puppet monster? Oh crikey, now you've got me thinking. I'm going to have to Google that. Garbage Pail. I'm not sure if I remember that at all or not. I don't know if I've got it right. Garbage Pal. Oh, so it's Cabbage Patch Kids, but gross versions. No, I don't remember that. But my sister had some Cabbage Patch Kids. But that wasn't for me. I don't remember that. Garbage Pail Kids. No, don't remember Garbage Pail. No. I do remember the actual Cabbage Patch Kids, and I stayed away from the rest of that just because I didn't like the Cabbage Patch Kids. Don't like that. Even that, looking at the pictures of Garbage Pail Kids, I don't like the look of the characters. They look weird. So yeah, I wouldn't toy with that, unfortunately. But it could be worth collecting. Loads of stuff from like from your past is always worth keeping hold of. I have not. I'll check it out. Didn't know they did Total War 40k. Yeah. I think it's called Total War 4. I think it's called. I'm just googling it now. Oh no, Dawn of War, not Total War. Sorry, dude. I'm getting you all excited. It's Dawn of War. I'm getting my names muddled up. It's Dawn of War. Eesh. Same kind of thing, but Dawn of War 4. But yeah, so you'll see that coming out. That's next year. But yeah, that's it. That's the sort of wrap for what's happened in my week. What about your week? Drop it in the chat. Tell me what's been going on. I want to know what's been happening. I want to know where you've been, what you've been doing. Or are you doing anything geeky? So if you're doing anything geeky, stick it in the chat. Let me know. Let's crack on then. Let's have a bit of a catch-up, actually. If I just move that out of the way and go to here. There we go. There is our St. Catherine on her grav bed, as we're going to call it. It's not a grav tank, but like grav bed, where she's sort of floating along. It does come off. So there you go. So you can see the underside. But that is our St. Catherine that we've done so far to this point. I haven't done the cherub's arms. I'm leaving those till we actually get the cherubs. But she is good to rock. She's looking pretty darn sweet in there. Bless her, with her bones sticking out of her armour. And very odd, very odd. But that's how the sisters rock and roll. So now we get to look at these girls. And we get to start painting these. Oh no, I've just broken one. Wounded. Oh no, it's alright. It's split at the joint, so it's just glue. But this little lady here with the incense thingy. So we've got her, the lady with the incense. We've got the lady with the staff. We've got the lady with the flowers. I did chuck a load of paint on them. She's throwing... It's not sick that she's got in her hand. Okay, she's like throwing flowers out. We've got that one. We've got a lady that's armed up and ready to go with her shield and her sword. Well, it's actually a relic weapon. We've got like a dialogus type preachy lady with a book. So that's her. And then you've got this lady carrying a sort of Sisters of Battle flaming dish thing. So you've got those. Those are our saints that we're going to be putting on to the model. 6 of those. So if I just move them this way, you'll be able to actually see them in the camera. There we go. There's our 6 saints. I don't know which one you want. If there's any one that you see there that you would like me to start painting, let me know. I'm just going to take a swig of my drink. Got a bit of a dry throat this week. I just went to the dispensary, says Joel. Very happy painter right now. Oh, what did you get? Come on. Tell me, Joel. Where have you been what have you been spending your dollars on? Come on, tell me. I almost looked at, just a minute ago, talking of spending dollars, I almost looked at, because I quite like WWE wrestling, and John Cena is about to retire. I don't know if anyone knows about wrestling, but John Cena is a very famous wrestler and a movie star now. He's about to retire. He's got his final match coming up, and they've just released like a final belt. And I was tempted to purchase the final belt, but yeah, a lot of money, a lot of dollars. But anyway, right, what one should we do? Should we do the lady with this little sort of smoking thingy? Should we do the lady with the staff? Should we do the lady with the roses? The lady with the flaming cup? The lady with the book? Or the lady with the sword? Oh, aero vape pens. Oh, as in smoking vape things. Oh, crikey. Can't say I condone those. They're bad for you, man. They can't be good. They can't be good. You know, they've made them as a replacement for cigarettes, Joel. Come on. They're not. Vapes aren't going to be good, man, are they? They're not. They can't be. Surely not. Oh, talking of alternatives, I've actually just started drinking. You see, I don't know if you want to do that. You can see I've got coffee, but it's not coffee. It is a complete plant alternative that's non-caffeinated, but just tastes like coffee, but is not coffee. So yeah, Trainwreck and Northern Lights. Oh crikey! Don't know what that's in reference to. Right, who should we do? Who should we paint? I'm feeling we might start with this sister because she's already started, I guess. So if we've got no suggestions, I might just rock on with this one. Let's move the rest of the ladies out of the way. Let's zoom in a bit because we're going to need to zoom. I'm just going to try and Oh, don't want to go that way too much. I just want to readjust a little bit. There we go. Just so we can see this lovely lady and what we got. Right, that's what she looks like at the moment. What should she look like? Let's find the picture. There she is. That's what she should look like. Currently, she looks like this, completely blacked out apart from the roses. So we've got the dish to do. We've got her sort of tabard to do. We've got the edging on her cloak, the inside of her cloak. Okay, right. So it's not too much. It's more than doable. It's more than doable. Might even get a first pass at this one done today. That'd be quite nice. Speed things up. I feel like sometimes I paint so slowly. Other days I feel like I don't know if everyone gets that, right? Do you get that? Where you feel like you start painting and you're just painting super slow. I just have that feeling some days where I just paint and I'm absolutely awful in terms of speed-wise. So the cape on this lady is going to stay black, which is really nice because that's a large area. So we can do some edge highlighting on that cape. But actually, for speed for now, for the first pass, I think we'll probably leave things like edge highlighting. Purely because that is a what's the right word? Time inducing? Time taking? It takes a lot of time anyway to do that, so we're probably not going to do that on our first pass at least. We will do that shortly. My all-time top 5 wrestlers. Oh man, that's a hell of a question that's coming from Optimus. I know it's a bit off-peak from what our general chat conversation is. However, we do like to digress here, and we do like to talk about anything geeky. And I consider wrestling a sort of geeky topic. Top 5 all-time. I would put in my top 5. Right, not because of his skill, not because of anything apart from his influence on me as a kid, is the Ultimate Warrior. I just... No, that theme tune come on, and I'm sorry, even though he was a pretty poor wrestler, my lord, he could get the crowd pumped. And that's what it's about, right? You don't have to be the best wrestler in the world. It's about how you entertain the crowd. Apparently he was a bit of a prat to work with for other wrestlers, which is unfortunate. But in terms of what he gave the fans loved him. And he was pretty awesome. So Ultimate Warrior is in there for me. I think Bret Hart's in there as well. Bret the Hitman Hart, he's got to be in there. Undertaker, I think just because... Well, sorry, Bret the Hitman Hart for his wrestling skills. He was just a genius wrestler. Undertaker for his longevity. He was a real great wrestler as well, but he was just he was in the game so long. John Cena for what he achieved in the amount of matches and the championships he held. He's also sort of a bit more of a modern day cool guy. What's that for? Oh man, this is actually quite hard. Because there's loads of others that I'd like to put in there. There's some random ones like your Rowdy Roddy Piper. I'd put him in there because he's quite cool. Stone Cold Steve Austin is cool. I didn't really like The Rock. I thought he was a bit of a douche. But he'd probably think I was a douche. Although we'd probably get on in real life, I think. So, yeah, I didn't really like The Rock's character. Just trying to think who would fill my last spot on my Mount Rushmore. I don't know. Macho Man, he was pretty cool. He was pretty epic. I liked Macho Man. Maybe I'll stick him in because he was a talented wrestler, also very entertaining. So I'll stick Macho Man in. However, that top 5, I could debate on that all day long because that's a tough question. All controversial. Yeah, the Warrior. Yeah. Joel's saying Mr. Perfect. Yeah, Mr. Perfect. Oh, I didn't see you saying Rowdy Roddy. Yeah, Rowdy Roddy's good. Mr. Perfect was cool as well. He never really seemed to get much of a run though, did he, Mr. Perfect? He got like the Intercontinental, but he never seemed to get much of a push elsewhere. I think he fell out with people at the company. No Hogan. Nah, he was alright, but I wasn't really a Hogan fan. Ric Flair, he was okay. Macho Man, he was in mine. Sean Austin, yeah. I mentioned Steve Austin, not Sean Austin. I mentioned Steve Austin, yeah. He's in a possible, but top 5 is really hard to do, man. That's a really difficult question to ask because actually there's so many wrestlers that are really good that deserve to be, you know, in that sort of top group. So yeah, that's a tough question, man. I really liked Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty when they were the Rockers, the tag team, the Rockers. When they split, I thought Shawn Michaels turned into a dick, but and then Marty Jannetty just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth, which I thought was a shame because I thought he was quite a cool wrestler. Some of the modern day wrestlers, though, I do despair because they don't look like wrestlers. Like, I'm bigger than some of these guys, like your Dominic Mysterios and people like that. They don't look like wrestlers. Now, he's super skilled, don't get me wrong. His character is an absolute douchebag, but he's such a small guy. He looks like he should be doing a paper round, not wrestling. But yeah. Anyway, we digress. See, look, you guys are good at getting me off on tangents when I'm talking. Joel is saying, as a kid, I was a big fan of Hillbilly Jim and Macho Man. Yeah, they remind me of the Bushwhackers as well. Luke and oh god, I can't remember the other one's name. Luke and something, the Bushwhackers. Luke. Can't remember the other guy's name. Oh, that's really bad. But I do forget a lot of stuff. Meant Shawn Michaels, not Sean Austin. Yeah, the true heavyweights have gone. Yeah, it's a bit sad. It is a bit sad. I thought you was getting your actors crossed with your wrestlers there. Your Sean Austin from Lord of the Rings. Or was that Sean Astin? I can't remember his name. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was alright though. I just never liked his character. And it always kind of creeped me out a bit, the theme tune. You know, it was like, yeah, it's just a bit odd. Yeah, just a bit odd. I don't want to make assumptions about the poor guy, but just a bit odd of a theme tune. But then again, it is just a theme tune. They are just mythical characters. So yeah. Gosh darn it. Right, we've got the inside of the cape done, or at least a first pass on that. So that's good. What else I'm looking at? We need to get like a creamy sort of colour for the tabard. We will probably go with Wraithbone. You can see, I use a lot of the same colours quite often. Because there's certain colours, I don't know if you find it guys, when you're painting that just fit the profile of so many models. And they're so versatile, you can use them on a lot. Wraithbone is one of them. It's almost like a go-to for pretty much every model. Pretty much. Not every single one, but... Anyway, there's me waffling, right? We're 26 minutes in and we're waffling. Survivor 7835. Oh, you're a WWF wrestling fan. That explains why you paint D&D then rather than Warhammer Fantasy, like the cool kids do. Ah! Well, this is Warhammer 40k. And I have painted Warhammer Fantasy, and And I do paint D&D as well, so I've got a box of models just behind my paints here that are D&D models that I need to finish. So yeah, I do like a bit of wrestling. It's not bad. It's a good old laugh. I went to see it last year. It's good fun. But welcome to the channel, Survivor. Survivor 7835. Good to hear from you. Thank you for joining in the chat. Welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and do all that good jazz. But yeah, we were just talking about wrestling. Basically, on this channel, Survivor, we talk about anything geeky. So absolutely anything geeky at all. It can be wrestling, it can be retro gaming, it can be Warhammer, it can be Dungeons and Dragons, anything in comics. I'll talk about absolutely anything. We're going to unpack some Pokemon cards in a bit. So we'll do that too on the channel. We'll do that live. So yeah, we just chat crap in the geek world. And I can't even remember how we got onto wrestling, to be fair. Oh yeah, I was talking about buying a John Cena belt because he's about to retire. And then one of the chat just asked me who my favourite all-time 5 are. So, you know, difficult questions. But why do you think someone that likes wrestling wouldn't like Warhammer Fantasy? That's a crazy question. Because the first models I ever painted were Warhammer Fantasy models. There you go. Warhammer Fantasy models are the first ever models that I painted. So, you know, that disproves your theory, sir. Right, this is a bit... Can you see? Here's a tip when you're painting, right? If you... I've got a black undercoat and you're going for a light colour on top. Can you see where the black's coming through on the tabard on this? If you water down your paints too thin, it will end up looking like that. Because you've got a really dark undercoat and you're sort of trying to put this lighter colour on top. If you thin out your paints too much, which I think I've done, you end up with this sort of really patchy colour. So what you're going to have to do, or I'm going to have to do, not you guys, is just paint over the top. So it just means a second or a third coat, which is absolutely fine. You can't, you know, a lot of painting, especially if you're going for really crystal clear looking colours, you'll actually need to build up the layers anyway. However, I try for speed to get the consistency of the paint just right so you can get away with one coat. You can't always do that, but we do try. There we go. Steve, did you cheer on Godzilla or Kong when they fought? Ooh, neither actually. I never really liked the Kong and the Godzilla movies. They're not bad, but I think if I was to choose one, it would be Kong, because I like monkeys, I like gorillas. So yeah, I think that would be my preference of the two. So yeah, thank you for that question, Optimus. Oh, I don't know if Survivor's still here and watching, but he should be, or she should be, should I say. There we go. Just trying to layer up this sort of creamy off-white wraithbone that we're using just for this tabard. Just so it doesn't look completely opaque. And don't worry that I'm going over these little bits here. It's absolutely fine because this is the first bit of paint we're splodging on, so we're all good. Anyway, our topic, we were going to talk a little bit about Warhammer, weren't we? Gosh. Half hour in, I haven't even started the main conversation yet. And we've got an extra bit to fill in tonight. We've got to unwrap those Pokemon cards, haven't we? Crikey, we've got a busy night ahead of us, guys. Ooh, this is going to be tight. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to need a real, like, see how small that brush is? That's pretty small. You can do most things with that. This is a 0 size brush. Actually, for this part, next part, I'm going to have to go for super fine detail for a really teeny tiny brush. So we're going to have to go with this Army Painter super detail brush, which is a teeny tiny tip. There you go. Because we need to get right in here. That's going to be quite difficult. So we are going to deploy the geek glasses. That looks like a new brush. Did you get some? No, I've got them on my Christmas list. So somebody's getting them for me for my Christmas. These are just some other brushes that I got. But they're not particularly great. I only paid 30 quid for a big sort of tub of them. There's about 15 brushes in there. So they weren't hugely expensive. Right, but this one is quite tricky. So what we'll probably end up doing is painting over the edges of stuff, which is not so good. But I completely missed that we had to paint this little tiny bit of detail. So, excuse that I'm getting white over the edges here. But, hey, look, to get into these little nooks and crannies when you don't plan ahead what you're painting, it's quite difficult sometimes. But we'll get the white in there. There we go, just about. So, I hear you cry. Steve, what is the general chat conversation for tonight's Minis and Muscles? Well, for tonight's Minis and Muscles, ladies and gents, I was going to talk about the Warhammer factions, sort of what's good, what's bad, just my sort of general chats. So, sorry, my general thoughts on what I've seen and what I've read also. So what I've seen to work, what I quite like about things, and how things work. So that's going to be our general chat. So let me know if you've got any thoughts on that, or you wish to partake in the conversation. Because we can, of course, deviate as we always do. Probably need to zoom in a little bit there, don't we? I'm just going to get a little bit of silver into my wet palette. I know metallics don't have to go into the wet palette. Yeah, screw you and your rules. I just find that they still go on nicer when you do. Right. We've just got these little pipes here to do, so... But yeah, Warhammer factions. So if you play Warhammer 40,000, if you play that, or you're interested in that, maybe this conversation tonight, this general conversation, is for you. But I am happy to change as per your requests, oh people of the good internet. So feel free to change things as we go if you like. But the Warhammer factions, I just thought I'd go through them and just chat to you about what I've played against and what I think's really good and what I think's really poo. So first up, I've played against these a lot. Necrons. I've played against Necrons a few times, and by crikey, are they a tough army. Now, not tough necessarily in the sense of they can't be killed. However, the buggers keep coming back. And that is absolutely infuriating. So a buddy of mine plays Necrons, and I think their major skill is that they can come back. So they have this sort of regen ability where they just come back and back and back and back, and you can't get them off the board. So if you can't wipe a whole squad in one go, that actually becomes a problem, because you then find yourself fighting against the squad after they've regenerated. Now, for an army that I play, for example, Sisters of Battle, that's a huge problem because they don't do a huge amount of damage. So it's actually pretty difficult as a Sisters player to kill Necron, I've found, whereas you just have to outplay them on the field. So outpoint and outscore them. What's chat saying? Optimus is saying, I heard that Alpha Legion is actually loyal. Oh, okay. Sorry, really dry throat. Well, I think... Do you know what, right? When you're talking about good and bad of the Space Marines, not necessarily how they operate on the board and in what order they're good or not, right? But in terms of morality, Ultramarines are seen as the good guys, right? Or generic Space Marines are seen as the good guys as a whole. Are they actually good? Are Space Marines actually good? As in moral ethics? Because they pretty much don't give a crap about anybody. Like, they will storm a world, kill humans, kill everything in their path, and then walk off as if nothing's happened and be absolutely fine. So, is that good? Is that the sign of being good? I'm not too sure. So, who's to say that Alpha Legion are good or bad? Optimus is my point here I'm making. Because, look, if the Ultramarines are supposedly on the good side, but don't act very good, then, you know, how do we know who is good? There's a good question. So there's going to be a lot of tidying in this model because... There's a few areas where there's a lot of black on this. So first of all, that's a pain in the bum. It's easy because you can just undercoat it. However, it's really obvious when you go over the lines of things. So it means a lot of corrections that you're going to have to go back and make. And corrections are fine, but it is a bit of a pain in the bottom. Because it's so obvious when you go over the line of something that should actually be black. Yeah, so what was I saying anyway? I was talking about Necrons, wasn't I? Necrons are absolute buggers. So if you're going to start to play Warhammer, and this is kind of where I was going with this conversation, like what's good to play if you're just starting, what's not so good and all the rest of it, apart from the rule of cool and what looks good, what have I seen and come up across that I think, oh, that's quite interesting. Necrons, apart from being super durable, are actually really cool because they're really simplistic. So to play Necrons, and again my buddy plays them, they have like very similar weapons, if not the same weapon profile for pretty much everything. Which means when you're trying to work out what your rolls are and what you got dice you got to do here and what you got to add there and all the rest of it, it makes it far more simpler. So for someone that's just starting out in Warhammer, Necrons are actually a really good choice. They're simple in terms of their rules, they're simple in terms of their abilities, and the fact that they're quite long lasting and they can regenerate is really helpful, especially if you're a newer player, because it means that you get the opportunity to come back even when they die. So I quite like a good old bit of Necrons. Don't particularly care much for the models, and I'll never tell my buddy that I like his Necrons like that. Well, I do actually, I lie. I do tell him that I like the Necrons. But, you know, they're just good for simplicity, good for newbies to the game, I think. Is a fair estimate. What else have you guys played? Has anyone played with or against Necrons at all? Be interested to know. If you have, drop it in the chat. Just whilst I tidy this edge. Edges, edges always like the nightmare, aren't they? They're always the nightmare. There we go. Always a bitch to do, these edges. And when you don't do them, they look so naff. but there's like edges here we're going to have to go back and do black on and things, so it's not a drama, it's fine. Diego, sup, how you doing, Diego? Welcome to Minis-N-Muscles, great to have you along. How are you? Did you join us the other week, Diego? I can't remember. Drop it in the chat and tell me. I can't remember if you did or not. If you didn't, welcome to the channel. Make sure you subscribe, dude. It'd be lovely to have another subscriber with a name like Diego. I'm assuming you're from somewhere like South America. But possibly not. But if you are, that's pretty cool. I think you might be one of our first ever South American watchers. So we have people that watch in Germany. We have people that watch in the UK, of course, because that's where I'm from. We have people that watch in the USA. We have people that watch in Australia. So we've got quite a... you know what? For a small channel, we get ourselves about a bit. We're like the dirty tramp of YouTube. Don't take that literal. No, USA. All right, sweet. Another person in the USA. Welcome, Diego. Do you know what? I actually think the USA at the moment is really popular for the channel. So we've got loads of people watching the USA. We've got, I don't know if you can see Joel, who is online. So he comes up as Yo7P. He is in the USA. We've got quite a couple. So welcome, dude. Welcome. Today's chat topic, if you didn't catch it earlier, is all about Warhammer 40k factions and what we think, you know, how they are and how they play. Are they good? Are they easy for newbies to play along with? You know, that kind of vibe. We just talked about Necrons, but I thought next we might as well do them because they're the poster boys, right? Let's talk about Space Marines. In terms of game playability, they're kind of like the jack of all trade, aren't they? They do everything, and they do everything pretty well. They've got a butt ton of characters. They've got loads of vehicles, so you're never going to be short of choice with Space Marines. That's one thing you can guarantee. I've just got a loose hair on my brush that I need to get. There you go. Yeah, you're never going to be short on choice with Space Marines. They've got so much. They're really versatile, so they work in a variety of different ways, whether you want to go with a sort of shooting type army or if you want to go more melee combat focused, they work either way. So actually, Space Marines are a pretty good choice for starters as well. Purely because the range is so big, so you can get the sort of models that you think look cool. And they operate on pretty much all fronts. They're flexible, they've got strong data sheets, again, because they're the poster boys of Warhammer. They get looked after well by Games Workshop. So, you know, if you wanted a army that is, you know, well supported, well looked after, doesn't get forgotten, 100% choose Space Marines. They also look pretty cool. Come on, let's be fair. Or again, some people might not like the look of Space Marines, but Space Marines look really cool. That's why I collect them, because they look awesome. I also like the fact that there's loads of characters. So, as you can tell, because we're on this channel, right, I like painting models. Now, for me, one of the pulls for having a Space Marine army is actually because they've got loads of character models. That means there's loads of different models out there that you can get and that you can paint. That, for me, is a massive draw. So if you're just a painter, you know, then you will actually enjoy Space Marines because there's so much variety. So if you like that variety in your painting dynamics, then another good reason to choose Space Marines. What's not so good, they can feel very generic. They can also feel like so what I mean by generic is that everybody's got them, right? everyone you know, someone bought a starter set and they've got Space Marines, right? So everyone has them. They're all about it. They're all about everywhere. Oh, what's saying in chat? I love Death Corps of Krieg. Oh, they look cool. So that's another. We'll come to the Armies of the Imperium in a bit, but Death Corps, great looking models. They look super funky. I've got to say that about them. I'm not so sure on their rules. I haven't played against them, but they are cool in terms of how they look. I have to give you that. When they first came out, I was like, oh, they look really sweet. But yeah, Space Marines, just to sort of wrap up on Space Marines, they are beginner. I would say they're beginner friendly because there's loads of starter box sets that you can get, so it's not like you won't be able to get any. There's loads of models about, loads of variation, well supported. There'll always be someone that knows how to play them, so you can always get a bit of advice. So yeah, they're pretty good for a beginner. And then for the painters, they're really good. For the advanced players, I think you might get, not bored necessarily, but you might want, because you have been playing Warhammer perhaps for a few years, you might want a bit more of a challenge when you play. So you might not want Space Marines purely for that. But if you like the look of the Space Marines and you've been playing for a long time, you might just choose a chapter that's not supported at all, and that'll give you a few challenges of your own. So yeah, so who's my favourite Primarch? Ooh, great question. Now, are we talking lore wise or are we talking model wise? Because that's quite important. Yeah, are we talking lore-wise? Are we talking model-wise, Optimus? What are we talking? Tell me the rules of this conversation, brother. There we go, just filling in this little dish that we've got on the go. Don't worry, I'm going to come back and do those red petals in a sec. Just want to make sure the silver goes down into the recesses where it should be. Again, I got excited at some point, didn't I, and painted all these petals red. I got well ahead of myself when I should have done the bloody tray silver first, you know. Always do that when I'm painting models. I just get excited, can't help it. I get excited, I want to paint stuff, so, you know, it just painting logic goes out the window sometimes with me, and I get a little bit carried away. Oh, lore-wise. Ooh. Okay, so that makes it really difficult because I don't know a huge amount on the lore. So for that, I only know limited amount of Primarchs. I've only got a choice of like 2 Primarchs really that I know much lore on. So for that reason, I probably have to go with yeah, I'll probably have to go with oh gosh, Lionel L. Johnson. That's who I'd have to go for. A, he looks kick-ass, and B, I think I quite like his story, but I haven't read a huge amount of Primarch lore, if I'm honest, so I don't know enough to make a solid statement across all Primarchs, so I feel like I'm doing some of the others a bit of an injustice, really, because there could be some really good stories out there that I just don't know of, which is more than likely. So the main lore books that I've read for Warhammer are Sisters of Battle books, to be fair. So for me, that's the majority of the lore I know. But reading's not my forte, unfortunately. I'm not a super reader, so it takes me 10 gajillion years to read anything, unfortunately. Just going back now and just touching up the leaves, just making sure they're red and not silver. Just going with a bit of a darker red here, so I chose corn red for these roses. So if you go too bright with stuff, I say it every episode almost, it just looks fake. So I like the sort of more darker colours. Also, this is the grim dark world as well, so you know, crikey, you can't have no, you know, well you could have, but you don't want your sisters to be in neon colours. This is not Starlight Express, God's sake. This is Warhammer 40,000. Not Starlight Express. It's not a West End musical, I tell you. Sorry, I'm going into my announcer's voice. Right, let's get these last ones. Oh, there's some there I missed. There's always when you do these and you go, oh, right, okay, I've done them, and then you go, no, I haven't, I've missed one. Oh, I've missed another. Go. I need to do the little gold, these little teardrops around the edges of this are actually meant to be gold, so we'll do those gold. Fugas. I am Pibble, wash my belly. Hello, Pibble. I think you need to wash your own belly. Optimus saying, have you read the Horus Heresy and Siege of Terror series? Learn all about the Primarch's history in those. Yes, so I started Horus Heresy, however I got book 3, which are really good books, but I'm buggered, mate. If I'm going to read 60 odd books, I'll never get through them. Honest to God, I read like a 2-year-old, so it would take me forever. And I simply don't have the patience to go that distance with reading 60 books. I don't have that in me, I don't think. Unfortunately. However, the first 3 books were really good. What was one of the books I read was like a gem. It was like 20 stories, 20 Space Marine stories or something, all in one. That was quite good. If I'm saying model-wise, what Primarchs do I like? Some of the bad Primarchs, supposed bad in inverted commas, I quite like how they look. Like Fulgrim, for example, he looks pretty cool. So there are some cool baddie Primarchs. In terms of loyalist Primarchs, who do I like? Model wise, this is. Do you know what? I do like, even though I don't own the model myself and I have an Ultramarine army, I do like the Guilliman model. I do like him, he's quite cool. But I like that kind of, I don't know, basic look. Is it a basic look for Guilliman? Would you say it's a basic look? I don't know. But I do like how he looks. He's a bit of a pimp model. But he's a lot of points, so to fit him into an army, I can't do it. I like versatility in my army and the ability to have, you know, a lot of units, and 300 points. That's a lot of points to spend on one model. Alright, so we've got all those little teardrops. around the edges, so that's cool. Got this little thing down here actually that's meant to be gold. So we could paint that very quickly whilst we've got the gold on the brush. There we go. Yeah, so that's Space Marines and Necrons done. Crikey, I waffle a lot, don't I? We've got so many more armies to cover. Well, since I'm painting Sisters of Battle, we might as well talk about Sisters of Battle, right? So Sisters of Battle are, I personally think, and this is not biased just because I have them, Sisters of Battle are awesome. They're an awesome army. I think the models look absolutely pimp. So I really like how the models look in Sisters of Battle. However, to jump in like I did, this is my first full army that I painted and played with. They're actually quite a difficult army I found to get used to. So it's not the easiest army to master and learn because there's quite a lot of tactics. It's not quite simplistic. Even just on one individual unit, there's so many different weapons that you've got. It just makes even that process longer and more difficult. Might be fine if you're a super trooper player and you've been playing a long time. But for someone that's new, it can be quite daunting. But once you get to grips with it, actually, Sisters are really cool. There are, I think personally, some key units that unlock the power of the Sisters, because they are quite easy to squish. Even though they're ladies in power armor and super tough ladies in power armor, backed by the faith of the God Emperor himself, they do get squished quite easy. So you've got to be a little bit tactical in how you play them, but they are super cool. There's a fair amount in terms of range of models, not like Space Marine range, but there are quite a few different models, and they're well liked, so I don't think they're going anywhere, which is good. What else have I written on here? Yeah, there's good flavour. There's a lot of different variety as well, because you can sort of, with the Sisters, you can go down the real sort of faith side and keep it Sisters, 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 or you can go down the Penitence side, which is, you know, big walking vehicles that are people strapped in them that have done wrong, and they you know, just basically sent out to die. And the bodies are powering these sort of hulking monsters, which is quite cool. I quite like that vibe. They've got some really sick looking models, so that's super cool. One good thing is you get, unlike other armies that are really tough on the board, full stop, Sisters aren't particularly tough. However, what Sisters do have is the fact that they have faith. And because they have faith, it means that they get a thing called Miracle Dice. Miracle Dice are very handy to inflict wounds or score a hit or inflict a damage on someone automatically through these special dice. And it can really get you out of some scrapes. Because I've been in some scrapes before, and you know, and then all of a sudden, with a few good Miracle Dice, you can turn things round. So that's a pretty nifty rule. Bad side, they get squished really easy. The models are super fragile, so even this model I'm painting now, super fragile. You've got to be really gentle with them. You've got models like Seraphim that are on these little jump pack Sisters, that are on these stand models rather than a flat base. Super fragile. When you drop them, they snap in half, much like they do on the battlefield. So you've got to be ever so careful. But they're a super fun army. And they just look cool. And they're different, right? They're the only female faction that's out there. So they're completely female apart from one or two extra characters that you can add in that are male. But they're completely female, and you don't get that. So it's another cool distinguishing factor. And that's just quite a nice thing to have. So yeah, sisters are a cool army. I mean, I'm biased, but hey. You've got to have some biases, right? Go. Just every now and then leaning over here to check what's over this side because I've got the picture of the stuff on this side too. Oh, no viewers at the moment, is that right? Oh no, we've lost everybody. Ah. Well, that's all right. It just means I can talk crap. Well, it's 8 o'clock, so I'm just going to pause there for a moment because. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Whoop. Let's bring in the Pokemon. Oh yeah. So I managed to get hold of a load of Pokemon cards the other day. Very hard to get hold of Pokemon cards. If anyone plays, they will realise how hard it is to get. Pokemon is the hobby that is getting more and more harder to complete sets. It's getting mental. Everything sells out within 2 seconds in the trading card game. But I did manage to get hold of these ones, which are Phantasmal Flame, the Mega Evolution set. So we're going to open a few of these and see if we can get the big pull. We are looking for a Charizard, right? There's a Mega Charizard EXs and things like this in here that would be really cool. Or any special illustration arts as well. That would be nice. So we will take any of those that we can find. We've got Printup, Smeargle, Toxel, Bronzor, Archelodon, Lockix, Glixor, Trapinch. Oh, Togedemaru. Nice. And that's a special illustration art. So can you see the card there? That's pretty cool. So these are the standard looking cards. Then you've got holographics and reverse holographics. So either this part is holographic or this part. And then you've got these special illustration rare cards. Nice. So that's a good card to get. That'll be worth a few quid. That'll probably be worth, I don't know, at least a £5. So that's good. God, first pull. That's not bad. We can just continue that. And what I'd really love to get as well is what's called a God Pack. So when they pack these Pokemon cards, that every now and then they pack a few sets that have back-to-back rare cards in, like all the super rares of that series. So even the first card you get here is a good one. So it's mental. Blowtorch. Oh, Villapoon. It's a nice little holo. Oh, Trainer holo. Oh, Miss Magius. EX, look at that. Nice. And this is a special illustration card as well. So that's nice. Look at that. That's a cool reflection on that one. Ooh. Yeah, so we got that one. That's pretty cool. So we're like 2 up so far. 2 packets, 2 special illustration cards. Nice. However, we are on the hunt today. We've got 8 more packets to do. We are on the hunt for a Charizard. Come on, Charizard. You know you want to live here with me. Alright? Come on, Charizard. Don't do us over. Don't let us down. We want a Charizard. Oh! Mega Heracross EX. Okay, so this is not special illustration, but it's still a good card to get. Still worth a few quid. Still different from the others. So, hey, we will take that as the win. That's better than just getting a holographic or a reverse holographic in the pack. So, we will take that. Got a few more to go. I'd love to be able to finish the Mega Evolutions set, but given the fact we've now got Phantasmal Flames added on top, and the fact getting hold of cards is so difficult, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do it, you know. It's really tough. Gliscor. Oh, another special illustration. Toxicity. That's cool. Another little shine there. Yeah. Pormot on the holo as well. Nice. Oh, that's a cool piece of artwork. That I like that. That's super cool. The little shop in the back. It's like he's in a shopping centre. I like that. That's cool, man. It's cool, baby. God, we're doing really well here, guys. So far, we're doing bloody well. So let's just keep this. Let's keep this good vibes going. Let's move that to the right. I wonder if we change this music. Oh, okay. It's more dramatic. So we've got the dramatic music in for opening these Pokemon cards. So let's see what we got. Nimble, Piloswine, Voltund, Sandile, Crocodile, Dimension, Grimly's Move, Toxicity. Oh, we just got the illustration art of that a minute ago. Mischievous. What we got here? Ah, see. Just hollows and reverse hollows here at the end. I mean, it's still okay. They're still alright, but you know, we had to get a duff pack, didn't we? We've just pulled like 4 special illustration art cards in a go, so we can't be too dissatisfied so far. So what I'll have to do after this is I'll go and wrap them all up. Absol. I was playing in Pokemon Go with Absol today. And Dawn and oh, don't even know how to pronounce that. Suicune. There's so many Pokemon, right, that I've never seen. Like I've never seen. I'm like, how have I never seen that before? And then I just don't know how to pronounce the names of them. This is so dodgy. Some of the names. But, right. 4 packets left. Baneri, no, Celery, Oddish, Militough, Bronzong, Charm, Oddish, Bramblegast, and oh, Mismagius EX. Nice. So again, not a special illustration rare card, but that's still a nice card though. It'll still be worth like 3 quid, 4 quid. Those EXs that are part of the main set, they're usually worth between £3 and £6 or £7 or something like that. It's the special illustrations that you want. And we're looking for Charizard. Mega Charizard. Come on. Murkrow, Lombre, Duraludon, Gligar, Ludicolo, Taurus, Dawn, Charmander. Okay. So we've got Charmander there. Oh, what's the chances of having a Charizard under the Charmander? Dugong. Toxicity. Okay. Alright. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. We'll take the Charmander. We'll say that's a good sign. That Charmander coming up is a good sign that Charizard is on his way. See, this is the one we want. This card with this picture. It's the Mega Charizard EX. Pretty pimp if we got that. Let's have a look. Swinub, Snubble, Avon, Ghastly. Oh, I got this the other day actually. Meloetta. I got her in this special illustration. That's pretty cool. Oh, No. One more to go. And then we'll do the muscle moment. Because we're like over halfway through the show. I must have been talking a lot earlier on. This time seems to have flown by. Maybe it's just 'cause it's like coming up to Christmas. Right, last packet. Charmander. Okay. So we've got Charmander on the top. Right. Bronzor. Trapinch. Krokorok. Alcremie. Haunter. Punk Helmet. Nimble. Bramblin and... Oh, Moltres. Oh, that was not so good. So we started off really well and then it sort of died off. However, I do still have some more packets left. So if I do pull any other good cards, I will let you guys know. But there's a few special illustrations there that we got out of those packets. So very happy. Not bad. So that was the Phantasmal Flames ones that have just come out. It's a pretty cool set. Love it. I don't know if I'll be able to complete it. However, we shall give it a go. There we are. There's our victory music. Because we just won. Knocking my camera out of the way. Righty. Back to the painting. Oh gosh, no, we need to do the muscle moment, don't we? Oof! There we are, muscle moment! Because we wouldn't be Minis and Muscles if we didn't talk about fitness for 5 minutes. Here we go. So, the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today on the fitness side was purely about how to get faster at running. Oh, not good when it's cold. So how to get quicker at running. The reason why I thought this was a interesting topic, and I just bring up 5 points in my muscle moment about it, is just purely because I was doing some running or getting back into it myself and trying to make a little bit of a dent towards getting back to where I was a few years ago. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but we can try. First tip number 1, run more. Sounds stupid, right? But run more, but smart. So it doesn't just mean run every single day, run till your eyeballs fall out, but it does mean that you need to run more than you currently are. So you need to clock up more mileage. Consistency beats intensity 9 times out of 10 to a point. Okay, so it will get you to a very good point with consistency alone. Speed work is mandatory. So point number 2, speed work. Speed work, speed work, and speed work. So this means, depending on what your distance you're trying to achieve, you're going to need to implement intervals. You're going to need tempo runs. You're going to need anything of real high intensity. So, for example, if you were going to run 10 kilometers, for example, you might want to integrate into your training program some speed sessions, and those speed sessions could be 1 kilometer best effort, followed by a 1 kilometer slow jog, followed by best effort, slow jog, and you do that for 5 kilometers in total, right? Well, actually 6 kilometers because it's 2. So you could integrate speed work like that. You could do 400 meter laps at best effort, 400 meter walk, 400 meter lap best effort, and just clock up the miles. So you're going to have to add in some speed work to increase your stride length and to be able to push the lungs a little bit and increase your VO2 max. Tip number 3, strength training. So add a little bit of strength training into your overall training regime. So that means going into the gym and pushing some weight. So squats, lunges, calves, remaining deadlifts, calf raises, things like that. They're going to be really good to help you build up extra strength Okay, so extra strength to enable you to be able to run more efficiently, more effectively, and ultimately faster. Bigger the muscles are, the faster you should go, theoretically. And it doesn't always work like that, but the stronger, let's say the stronger the muscles are. Tip number 4, form. Okay, tip number 4 is form. So make sure you're running efficiently. So you don't want to be running like Phoebe Buffet on Friends, you know, with your arms out and all over the place. You want to be running relaxed. You want your body to be relaxed. You want to be like running like this, you know, really tense. You want the shoulders to be relaxed. You want your arms just to be doing sort of a motion that feels very natural, that's not forced, you know, and you want to be in a almost like a flow state. So I remember when I was running a lot myself, my right wrist, when I was in this sort of flow state of running, my right wrist would go like this. My left one would be fine, but my right one would go out like this. So I knew I was in my flow state of running if my wrist was going out. So make sure your foot strike is good. Your arm swinging is going to help. So don't just run like this, you know, bring your arms into it, but don't be a Phoebe Buffet. And your posture as well. So that means, you know, not sort of running hunched over, you know, you're not sort of leaning back too far, you're having a good posture for your running. And tip 5 for increasing your running speed is rest. Okay, sounds really stupid, but rest is... will dictate your speed, because you will with good rest you will be able to run faster when the next time you go out. So in that rest, that incorporates sleep, that incorporates hydration, and that incorporates easy days. So make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you hydrate enough, and make sure in your training regime that you've set out for yourself, you have got some easy days booked in there for you. Okay, they are my 5 tips for you. That was our muscle moment. Hello, Hal, in the chat. I'm good. How are you? Let's just whop back the camera down here. How are you doing, Hal? I hope you're well. Hope you're keeping all right. Right, what I'm going to paint next, I'm actually going to paint her face next, because that's right in that cowl. And I just don't want to forget about it, then I'll perfect all the model, and then I'll have to go in with my big paintbrush and then mess everything up. So I want to try and get the face done now, I think. Add some paint to my wet palette. I'm just going to shift over this way a little bit, just so I'm ready to paint in the right place. You're doing fine, says Hal. Good, I'm glad you're well. Oh, I need my geek glasses. They're going to have to go on for this bit. I'm glad you're keeping all right, Hal. Hopefully you're not too busy running yourself crazy. Again, in hard to reach areas like this, you're going to go over the edges. Don't worry, don't panic. All part of the process. We'll tidy those other bits up later. I don't know if I'm getting the right angles on the camera whilst I'm doing this, so apologies if I'm not. But it's quite difficult to see. Oh, painting my finger. Oh gosh. That was not good. Splodge of paint right across the hood of her cape. There we go. Okay. One thing that's quite nice about this model, actually, because I've got the hood on like that, it means you've got no eyes to paint. And sometimes eyes can be the bane of painting. Not because they're particularly difficult, but what I find is I get frustrated doing eyes sometimes when I know I can paint better, but for whatever reason I paint these like wonky eyes and I can't seem to correct it, and I go back to correct it and I mess it up again, and I go back to correct it and I mess it up again, and I just get frustrated with myself. So sometimes not having to do eyes is actually really nice. And on this model there are no eyes, so we're on to a winner here, guys. There we go. Yeah, she's alright. Sorry I was not here before. I was playing game. Oh, Hal, what game were you playing? I would like to know. What game was it you were playing? You missed out lots, Hal. We were opening Pokemon cards and everything before you joined. So you missed out on so much. I'm only teasing, don't worry. I just need to bring this light over more. So sorry if this light gets in the way of the camera. I just need a little bit more light. Oh, okay, that's not actually that bad. Right, okay, that's not too bad. It's not as bad as what I thought. You will not know what it is. Oh, okay. I will try. Tell me. Tell me what it is. You never know. I might know. Are you saying that I'm really old, Hal? Is that what you're saying? Steve is really old, so he's never going to know what game it was that you were playing. I mean, that is quite possible. There we go. Just tidying that up. I don't know about you guys where you are, but I've got some awful weather at the moment, like really bad weather. It's horrible. All I can hear outside is like the howling wind and like the rain like hammering against the window. Oh, sorry guys, just out of frame there. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. I've still not perfected my camera angles. With the setup I've got, it's not particularly easy to get the model in the right place to paint it, but then for you guys to see as well. So apologies. Just checking how I'm painting this lady and how she's coming along in comparison to box art, that is. Because with the sisters, I 100% follow box art because the rest of my army is painted like that. And if I then go on some crazy psychedelic colour scheme, it would look rather weird when it was sat next to the rest of the models in my army. So I do try to stick to box art with sisters. With my orcs I went completely crazy with the colours, so I didn't really stick to anything specific. I went quite crazy with me arcs. There we go. Not looking too bad. Looking all right. Hope you're all doing all right out there. We've had our muscle moment. We opened some Pokemon cards earlier, in case you missed that. And our general conversation is just talking about various different Warhammer factions and how they play. We've covered Space Marines so far. We've covered Necrons, and we've covered Sisters of Battle or Adeptus Sororitas. Let's talk about another faction. What about World Eaters? So, World Eaters are Chaos Space Marines in the sense of... Sorry, they are Space Marines that are of the bad variety, which are often referred to as Chaos Space Marines. But these are World Eaters. World Eaters are another chapter within the Space Marine Traitor Legions. They're super cool. They're a melee-based army. You know, I love how they look. They look very cool on the battlefield. And they are pretty good, I'd say, when I've played up against them. I wouldn't say they're the strongest army I've played against, but they do work really well. However, for them to work really well, you have to be good at lining up your melee attacks so that it all rolls. Not rolls literally, but you have to line up your melee attacks and think quite strategically before you get in there, because if you don't, they'll very quickly get shot off the board. But if you're someone that likes to play a little bit tactical with how you play Warhammer 40,000, and you like the idea of a melee army and you want a theoretical bad guy army, World Eaters is a great little choice. They've got some really cool models. A mate of mine's got World Eaters, and they in fact, two of my mates have had World Eaters, one now doesn't, but they're very, very good in terms of their models. And some of them, crikey, they have a gajillion attacks, a little bit like orcs in that sense. If they get close to you, they're gonna, if they get close to sisters, they will absolutely rip through sisters like no tomorrow. However, you know, they are, if they don't get close though, they do lack a little bit, I find. So they don't have a huge amount of firepower punch. So they do need something, but they're pretty good though. You get loads of sort of demony type engines that are their tank equivalents, that are pretty cool. They're very awesome looking models. There is one called the Lord of Skulls, which is a massive brute of a model, and that's for World Eaters. That looks really cool. And a mate of mine's got that as well, and I've got to say, in real life it is really cool, and it's super powerful in terms of it on the battlefield as well. So it's a pretty nice combo in terms of army. They're not that complicated to play, I don't think, in terms of the stats, but they're complicated in terms of setting up setting them in the right place so that they're effective, so you can take advantage of the really decent melee. So that's what I would say about those. But it's a game called Matador. It's a Danish game. Oh, okay, how nice. I have to have a look out for that. I've not heard of Matador, but that's not to say that I won't not hear of it in the future. I might hear of it in the future sometime. You never know. This paint I'm not going to put into my wet palette because I've only got a little tiny bit left of it. So I actually need to use the paint from the bottom of this pot that I mixed up earlier. So I'll just paint these beads. Oh, need a bit more than that because that's not going to paint nothing. Oh, I think I've got a bit too much on my brush now. Now I've got too much. Can't get enough the first time, now I get too much. There we go. Bring these like little prayer beads on her robe, which are quite cool. It's a bit of a pain to paint. Pain to paint. What other armies are there out there? So what about the armies of the Imperium, the Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum? So these guys are a horde army, so you need lots and lots of models because they're even less durable, I think, or certainly a lot of their units, they're less durable than Sisters of Battle, and that's saying something. So a lot of low toughness stuff, cheap points. They don't do a lot of damage on their own, but it's when you have, you know, hundreds of these troops all together that actually they do some severe damage. They benefit massively from big tanks. So if you like big tanks and you like the idea of playing as humans, you could perhaps choose the Astra Militarum. They've got some really lovely models. It's a shame that they don't have all the models they used to have. Years ago, they used to have a lot more variety, and I think they might be bringing some of them back at least. But they used to have a lot of really cool models. Back in my day, they had loads. I mean, the I think it's called the Ice Warriors of Valhallan. They had those. They had the Catachan Jungle Fighters. There are still some Jungle Fighters about. I recently sold some very old Jungle Fighters on, I think it's Vinted or something like that. I sold them. And I still have a few special character models for the Jungle Fighters, just because they're humans in jungle clothing with guns and they look cool as. Imagine sort of Rambo. That is your Catachan Jungle Fighters. And actually they've got a character called Sly Marbo, who is basically Rambo, which is quite a funny character model. It's not particularly good in terms of his stats, but it's still a very cool model to have. So if you like, you know, loads and loads of models on the board, you like dominating with big tanks, then this is the sort of army for you. The only thing I would say is and this goes for any horde army really, horde armies are exactly what it says on the tin. They're a horde and you need lots of them. So be prepared to paint lots of models if you're going to go with Astra Militarum. There are lots of them and you'll need the lots to be effective. So just bear that in mind if you're going to buy them. Very cool models though, like I said, and possibly the best tanks, I think. The best selection of tanks in 40k. That's my, again, personal opinion. But they are, you do get some, like I say, massive squads there. They do have the ability to die very quickly because they don't have many saves. They don't wear power armor, for example, like a Space Marine, so or a Battle Sister, so they can get killed very easily. However, you should have the numbers. So if you can direct your fire in a certain way and ensure that your fire is effective, you can wipe off units off the board pretty quick. But you just have to make sure that you use those big tanks and concentrate your firepower of your infantry into one source. Otherwise, you're going to be peeing into the wind, as they say. But a nice army to play. I haven't played against them actually, so I don't know how they would work against any of my armies. I haven't had the joy of that yet. I might maybe be able to play someone at the local game store or something that's got a Astra Militarum army. But yeah, I haven't played against them, but that doesn't mean that they're not a viable army choice. Humans with guns and tanks, you know, it's still a cool vibe. They still look cool. There we go. That's the belt, that's those ball things. I've got that little thing down the bottom, so that's going to be gold. Where's my paintbrush gone? There it is. I know kind of night. Yeah. Not good, bro. Right, what we're going to do, we're going to put this down here. So we're just going to do these little teardrops. Oh, should they actually be silver and gold, not just gold? Because the silver and gold would at least match the tray of flowers, right? Or rose petals, rather. So maybe I should reconsider what I'm doing right now. Let's finish the gold and then see what it looks like. If it looks crap, we'll change it. Right, how does that look? Doesn't look terrible actually, doesn't look bad. There's a sort of couple of gold, 3-4 gold points across the character that sort of pull it all in together, so it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I think we'll roll with it. Now, sisters on their uniform, they have lots of these little sort of, I don't know if you can see, right at the bottom there, underneath that gold bit that I just painted, they have these little studs on their armour or on their cloaks, right? They have loads of them. And I do like to try to paint them. Like that. I don't know if you can see. There you go. It's actually a silver one right at the bottom, but there's loads. So they have them in places like this, tucked away underneath. Oh, bugger. I'm using slightly too big a brush here. Yeah, too big a brush. have to tidy this up now, darn it. If you're really careful, not like me, you can just dob the a bit of silver onto the model and you can get away with it. That's a bit of a better effort. I think maybe it's because I had too much paint on my brush to begin with. But they're everywhere, these little silver studs. And although they're difficult to get to, when you look at the model and you see the little silver studs like reflecting, like on the shoulder, on the arm here, it actually looks really cool. So it is worth doing. Pain in the bum thing to do on your sisters, because it's a bit of tricky detail work, but you know, worth doing, because it's those little tiny little things like that you see on a model that your eye will be attracted to, and it will just instantly make your model look 10 times better. Even if it's not that great, it will look instantly better just because you've bothered your bum to go for some minute detail. And they're not hard to do either. It's literally getting some sort of excess silver onto the end of your brush and just dropping it on to the top very lightly. So it's not hard to do. I think most people can do it. There we go. So let's tidy up the mistakes I made over that side. There we are. Alright, so she's looking pretty cool. Oh, it's 1:45. Crikey, we best stop for our hobby horror moment in a sec. In fact, maybe we won't stop. Maybe we'll continue to paint whilst we do the hobby horror moment now, because otherwise we'll miss it. So the hobby horror moment is the third part, or the third chapter, if you want to call it that, of our show on Minis and Muscles. This is where we talk about something that's gone wrong in our hobbying world that causes distress and frustration and anger. Now, for those acute watchers that were watching last week, will remember that I was painting middle of the session last week, painting a model just like this, and I spilt some paint across the entirety of my table. Wasn't good at all, very frustrating, and that happens all the time. So I thought it was just a continuation of that live hobby horror that happened to me, and me not just telling you a story, but actually let's work on how we can fix that. So actually, what can you do when you spill, or to stop or prevent your spills, especially with things like these. So washes like this, shades, will go everywhere, and if you drop one of these, chances are you'll be able to pick it up quickly before it all runs out. This will go everywhere, and it will stain everywhere very quickly too. So what can you do? First of all, never ever open up your pots of paint near it. Things like electronics, especially washes like this, shades like this. That's just you know, a sensible place. So get yourself a mat, a painting mat. If we zoom out, there we go. You can see my painting mat that I use right here. Oh, you can actually see where I got it from. redgrasscreative.com. So this is just a standard painting mat. It's really nice to use, really easy. You know, it doesn't matter. It's cut resistant, so you can cut on it as well. If you get any paint on it, doesn't matter. Not a problem at all. So you can use one of these. I would highly recommend you get something to paint on, and don't paint near any electronics. So that's number one rule. If you're using a wet palette, make sure it's a proper wet palette that is stable. So if I show you my wet palette, so you can see here, it's in a proper dish, a proper tray, with the sponge on the bottom and then the paper on top. but it's not going to go anywhere. So these paints that I put in here aren't going to fall out. They're not going to go anywhere. They're pretty safe and secure. And you've got a lid. So use a proper wet palette. If you're using a homemade one, just be careful of how you've got that set up. What you can do is, tip number 3, is you can actually buy paint holders. So I don't have any right here. If I just turn this camera, I don't know if I can do it actually. No, I can't do it. It doesn't go in the right direction. But you can get for your paints. Oh god, there you go. So that's why you keep them locked all the time. You can buy for your paints little holders they sit in on your table. So rather than it just sat on my table like this, actually it's a little wooden block that they sit in so they don't purposely get knocked over. So it's a little wooden frame or a plastic frame that the pot sits in and they can't be knocked over. All right, really good. You can buy them on places like Etsy. So have a look at that. You only need to get one because you use one paint at a time, right? So you could look at something like that. Chaotic desk. Try to keep the desk that you're painting on fairly clean and tidy, so you've not got crap everywhere. So you can actually reach the items that you're trying to reach, and you can paint them without causing a huge fuss. So there's another tip for you. What else could you do? You can lastly buy dropper bottles. So instead of having bottles that are open like this with a big old opening, you get the bottles that have got a little end on them. I haven't got one to hand, have I? I might have this one, might be one. You can get dropper bottles like this, okay, they've got a little nib on the end where if it falls over, it's not going to leak. See, not leaking out. All right, you can see how slowly that's moving down the funnel. Oh yeah, just pick it up. There you go, done. So you could buy some dropper bottles. They're really, really helpful. And lastly, my last tip for you guys is keep a spill kit nearby. Buy a spill kit. It only needs to be something simple like tissue paper, right? Keep that nearby so you can absorb it very, very quickly if you do have a spillage, all right? And that is the hobby horror continuation from last week's live show where I spilt paint all over the darn desk. Oh, that was hideous. Right, back to our sister. Well, she's looking pretty lovely right now, and I'm really liking how she's turning out. So, next to do is our actual backpack. So that is the last item to do. There's not a huge amount to do on it. I don't know if we'll be able to do this from this angle. But on my sister's packs, I actually always, there's like these little lines that run across them. And I don't know whether you guys will see where I'm painting right now because it's like literally right down the back. But there, can you see that there? You can just about make out the faint little silver lines, right? That is the bit that I'm painting. If I'd have painted these before putting the model together, it would have been far easier. But, you know, we don't always do what's easy here on this channel. We do what it feels right in the moment. So just painting those silver. These bits on my sister's models on the side, I always paint on a silver strip like this. So again, really all I'm trying to do is keep it in keeping with what I already have painted on the table. So I don't want it to be a complete new version of my army. I want it to look right and be not look out of place. So by following my existing sister's paint scheme will help me do so. There we go, there's those lines across the back. Got another silver bit this side. I like more studs over this side. Oh, went over the line a bit. Orcs, and Howard's saying, and I know orcs. Oh, yeah. Optimus, you missed the booster pack opening, bro. Yeah, you did. Sorry, man. We got quite a few special illustration art cards, actually, which was really cool. We didn't find the Mega Charizard, unfortunately. We didn't get him, but it was still good. So I was still happy with the cards that we drew. We only did 10 packets, so I do have more. If I find that Charizard, oh my lord, then I'll be celebrating. But we found some nice cards nonetheless. Right, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Just making sure we tied up them black lines. Normally on the backpacks as well, there's these sort of little random kind of squares on there and bits. So I usually pick out like a bright colour and just use that for some of the buttons and stuff. Like the oh god, that wasn't very good at all. I just blobbed my paint on like an absolute fool. Crikey, that weren't good. So I usually find two sort of bright colours just to stand out, just so it looks nice. Doesn't really matter what bright colours. In this case I'll use orange and blue. Just go across those two little lines like so. These circles on the backpacks, I always do these in silver. So I'm just lightly tracing around the outside of that. So that one's done. I will do this one in silver as well. So that's there. I can't remember what I did this little plate in. So I will go with silver and then I'll probably have to redo that. Oh god, I'm out of camera, sorry. I'll probably have to redo that, so but never mind, it's not an issue if we have to redo it. So there's me talking about spilling paints, and don't leave paint pots open. I just left these two wide open on my desk. Like a lunatic. I'm just asking for trouble in the last 5 minutes of the show. Right, what else we've got to paint on here? Oh, we've got a bit of white. Oh, crikey. Don't throw her around, Steve. Jeez. We've got some really tiny little areas, so I'm going to go back to my fine detail brush. With the help of my zoomy glasses. There we go. Alright, so we've got those bits. I don't really know whether this should be white or not, really. Not sure. Not sure, but we've got a candle to do anyway, so we'll do that candle. We'll use a slight off-white, so we use a bit of Rathbone that we had mixed up earlier. Well, it's actually dried pretty quick, that Rathbone. You can see there it's not particularly smoothly going on to the model, so sometimes when you got paints in your wet palette, things don't always run so smooth. So just check your paints every now and then. Then it might just need, you to add an absolute minuscule bit of water to it just to loosen up the paint so you can get it flowing again. There we go, so we've got the little candle done. We haven't done the flame yet, but we'll get to that. Let's finish off these candles up here. can go a bit quicker on these ones, which is quite nice. Not bad. Could probably get away with using a bigger brush here, actually, to be honest. I'm using a very small brush on what is actually quite a large area. For a miniature, that is. There we go. Checking on chat, making sure you're all okay. There we go. Very quick slapdash. Got these candles painted as well. Just before the end of the show. Not bad. Now, I don't know whether the candles should be red or not, because they do depict the sisters with red candles sometimes. In fact, looking at the box art, I think one of the candles in the centre is red. So we may change that. We'll see. There we go. So, she looks pretty good. I might just do the tips of these in a white just for now, because they're going to need flames going on to them. Ah! Bugger! See, when you do rush, sometimes you do make inappropriate mistakes. There we go. Again, I'm using this white that I had to mix up because I've not got much left of it. So I've already pre-mixed this into a little pot. There we go, last minute rush. There's the tip of the candles done in white. They need some colours added to it, of course. But there is our first sister that's going to go onto the base of our St. Catherine model. So if we bring the base back into view, oh god, throwing everything everywhere, and just zoom out slightly. So there's the base, there's our St. Catherine, and this lovely lady, I believe, goes right here. There are little tiny little holes. There we go. So she goes right there. Like that. Oh no, she fell off. Don't die, sister. Right, like that. Get it? There we go. So that is where she goes onto the model, and that's how she looks. So actually, she looks pretty freaking sweet. She does need some finishing touches. So like the candles I need to sort, but you know, no biggie. We can sort that another day because we have hit the end of our show. Let's get these glasses off. Woo! Let's change across to the front view. Oh wow! Actually painted quite a lot today. Well, it certainly feels like we achieved quite a lot. So we've got that whole model done. I reckon actually now these models, the rest of this St. Catherine's model will come together quite quickly because they're not too complicated. So again, if I bring the model up here so that you guys can see, there we go. So it's looking pretty good so far, right? With our two characters on this, so St. Catherine in a sarcophagus. Got the base done. And then you've got another saint. I've forgotten her name, but you've got another saint done on this side as well. She looks pretty cool. Right, well. It's that time, people. It's the end of the show. It is 9 o'clock. It's just gone 9 o'clock, actually. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that comes along for this crazy ride that we call Minis-N-Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the brush, the place where we talk geek, we paint miniatures, and we just have a good old crack. So thank you, every single one of you. Make sure you do subscribe if you're a new viewer. There's a couple of you have dropped in, so please do make sure you subscribe. That would be wonderful if you could. Make sure you like the video once it's posted, comment on it, share it with your friends, get all your mates to sign up and subscribe as well. That also would be amazing. So apart from that, I would like to say thank you. Oh, come on. Come on what? Come on what, Hal? What do you mean, oh, come on? I don't know what you mean, Mr. Hal. What are you saying? But yes, thank you thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't do this for the money, do it for the love, do it for the passion, do it for the geekery, do it for the friendship. So yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend, alright? Get out there, go and do some fitness, even if it's a walk around your local park. Get out there, do some geekery with your buddies if you can, and have an absolutely wonderful weekend, alright? Stay safe, and I will speak to you all the same time next week here on YouTube. Thank you very much. I will see you all very soon.
Minis-N-Muscles, we're heroes, right? The dying world's new mighty skies. Rushing there, where power we fight. Strength that breaks you, light in the night. Where the brawn meets the brush. The story told in this land of imagination mode. With every stroke, adventures unfold. Minis-N-Muscles, heart and soul. To explore, roll the future, hear the dice roll, gaining realms of muscles drawn, together in this place where we belong. Doting spells, casting dreams until the dawn, leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright, venturing on.